seconded. Do we have any discussions on the bills?
I didn't see anything out of the order.
No, ma'am.
Me.
I feel like one of these times you guys are gonna have to put something in here just so that we have some questions. You guys do a really good job, and we never have actual questions.
So you want us to put little,
Yeah, like just
Weird
some little
things.
snippet that we can be like, wait, see if we catch it kind of a thing. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Meeting adjourned.
Second 2016 regular meeting of the Riverton City Council to order at 7 p.m. Would Councilmember Larson lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and after that, we'll have an invocation by Councilmember Peterson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our beloved Heavenly Father, we are grateful for this opportunity we have to come together as a city council and to be able to discuss the needs of this great city that we call home and that we love. And Heavenly Father, we are grateful for the residents that live here and for the efforts that they take to make this a better place for everybody to live and to welcome those who travel through. We ask you to please be with us tonight as we discuss the needs of this city and as we welcome the new members of our police force, that we'll be able to open our hearts and our minds and to be able to do those things which are in need of this great city. And we ask for these things humbly in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Would the city secretary please conduct the roll call?
Yes, Your Honor. Councilmember Martin Canan.
Here.
Councilmember Kyle Larson.
Here.
Councilmember Sean Peterson.
Here.
Councilmember Holly Gibbon.
Here.
Mayor John Lars Baker.
I am present. We need a motion this evening to excuse Mike Bailey and Lee Martinez from tonight's meeting.
Your Honor, I make a motion that we excuse Councilman Bailey and Councilman Martinez from tonight's meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mayor votes aye and the motion passes. I declare that we do have a quorum. Chair would entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Anything we need to add? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Communication from the floor, citizens' comments. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the council regarding an item that is already on the agenda will be given an opportunity to speak later on. I would ask those individuals who wish to address the council at this time to approach the podium and identify yourselves for the record.
Good evening and welcome to everyone that's here, and thank you for letting me come one more time. My name is Pat Lawson. I am with the Wyoming Veterans Commission for the state of Wyoming. I came tonight to say thank you for all of you that came when we handed out the medals on the 30th of June. Mr. Weaver, I think you were there with standing room only, if I remember correctly. We had about 450 to 500 that attended. We handed out 60-some medals here in the Riverton Lander area. There were a little over 270 handed out in the state of Wyoming, and that was done by the governor and the ambassador, and they traveled from Cheyenne, Lander, and Riverton all in one day. So they were tired when they got back, and we were tired when we cleaned up over there. I'll tell you that right now. We did such a good job that they have extended and asked for a second for those who wish to apply through 31 August of this year. So if there's anyone out there that served in Korea with boots on the ground, in the air, or in the water, between the June 27th, 1950, and 31 January 1955, they are entitled to apply for the medal. And if they have passed away, their spouse is asked to step forward and do that. Applications are available at the Veterans Hall over at 611 East Main, and I have them if somebody wants to call me. I think everybody knows how to find me, 851-7400. On another note, before I leave, and I think I'd like to say a very hearty thank you to Councilman Martin, who's worked with me the last couple of days. First at the Military Appreciation Night last night at the rodeo. He does quite well catching flags and chasing horses, I'll tell you that. He was there for several hours and 2 rehearsals. We have put up in the main building something called a War on Terror fallen Warren's memorial. And I think, Mr. Warren, they talked to you about bringing it down here. Monday morning will be when we'll be down here. It is a memorial that the commission decided we needed in somehow to recognize those that fell from 9/11 in the state of Wyoming. That was originally kicked out on 2014. It's been in Cheyenne, Sheridan, Casper, Lander, Gillette, and it's here now probably till the first of the year. So if there are areas, I'll talk to the banks. Down here, we'll bring it. It was in the courthouse about 3 months over there. Take the time to look at it. It's pretty much self-driven. You can put in the name like Command Sergeant Major Griffin. It'll bring his kiosk up and the history that his family has put in there. The same thing for Chance Phelps. So take the opportunity when it's down here, spend some time with it, and it's your way of saying thank you to the fallen heroes. And to Marty, I thank you ever so much for the help you've given us. And for Monday morning, when you and I wrestle that 200-pound box down here, I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Pat. We look forward to having the kiosk here in the City Hall, and we'll try to get it set up in a good spot. Everybody will be able to see it. Thank you. The next item is the consent agenda. Would the Finance Director please read the consent agenda items by title only?
Yes, Your Honor. Approval of the minutes, July 19th, 2016, regular council meeting. Approval of the minutes, August 2nd, 2016, Finance Committee meeting. Approval of the Finance Committee recommendations, August 2nd, 2016. Serenity Estates subdivision plat petitioners, Rick and Josephine Gilpatrick. Gorham Edition replat petitioners, Steve York and Carol Zagata.
Are there any items that require further discussion?
Your Honor. Recommendations from the Finance Committee for claims to be paid in the amount of $125,218.57. Checks written for payroll liabilities for 7/22/16 in the amount of $446,344.67. Manual checks in the amount of $54,680.86 for a total of $626,244.10.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion for the approval of the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mayor votes aye and the motion passes. Introduction of new RPD officers, Derek Miller, Wesley Berry, Randy Foose, and Bridget McGinnis. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think that we're just going to introduce two tonight, and then we'll do two another night.
Okay.
So I'd like to invite two of our newest officers, Randy Foose and Bridget McGinnis, to join me up at the podium, if I could. As you know, we like to introduce our public officers to the community through the city council meeting, and so I'd like to introduce you to Officer Randy Foose. Randy joined us about May. Randy, did you come over? He was working at the Department of Corrections, and we were able to get him away from the prison environment and get him to come work with us. Randy's married. I think his wife Samantha's here, and they have a child. But I think his dad's actually going to pin his badge tonight.
Okay.
And Randy went to Riverton High School, so he's a local kid, been around a long time. Bridget's from California. We won't hold that against her. She came here to work on a farm and ranch. How do you like to define it? A farm and ranch in Wyoming. I don't want to offend anybody. And ended up working with them and loved it, and went to CWC and got recruited to play basketball for them. And when we found out she could throw mean elbows in the paint, we decided that we need to bring her on board. We're really excited to have both of these officers on board with us. Bridget's going to leave for the academy here in about 2 weeks, and Randy's in the middle of his field training right now, and he'll go to the academy probably in January. So if I could have you guys have somebody come up and pin your badges.
It's my pleasure to be able to swear you in as police officers. So would you raise your right hand? And repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Wyoming, that I have not knowingly violated any law related to my election or appointment, any law related to my election or appointment, okay, or caused it to be done by others, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. Thank you.
Yeah, geez. You wouldn't want to play top of the bat with him. Then we have 3 kicks, and then we had all kinds. He would still hold it.
Thanks, Chief. Could you tell us how we're doing, the total number of officers? Are we full up, or?
We are authorized 28 sworn officers. We currently have 28 on board, and we actually have a waiting list. But we did have an officer resign just today, so he gave us his 2 weeks' notice because he wants to move to Oregon.
Okay,
So we'll be short for a couple months until we can bring our the top person off our waiting list on board. But the only limitation we have right now is really in training people. It just, we can train about 3 at a time, and that's about it, so.
okay. And so how long does it take to go through the academy?
Well, the whole training process is almost a year long. So Officer Foose came on in May. He'll graduate from the academy in April, May next year. So he'll finish his field training sometime late in the fall. We'll put him on the schedule for a couple of months, probably make him work through the holidays. The rest of us can have it off. And then we'll send him to the academy in January. And when he gets back, then he'll be fully certified. So it is about a year-long process when
Okay.
we hire brand new folks.
Yeah, yeah. So then it's good if we can keep them around for a while, right?
That's great.
Okay, thank you. The next item is a report, Fix Our Road Citizens Committee, project update, Public Works Director's report, please.
Excellent. Thank you, Your Honor and Council. I know there are many civic opportunities this evening, and so I want to make sure that we go through this in an efficient manner. But I'm grateful for this opportunity because the 1% monies that our communities are currently using and that our citizens have passed are vital. Vital to the success of my department, for one, and then also vital for the city in order to provide the best infrastructure possible for our residents. And as everybody is aware, the opportunity to vote on this 1% sales tax is coming up here very soon. And I want to provide an opportunity for you as members of the council to see the progress that we have made with the 1% funds, and then also get an overview of what we're doing this current fiscal year. This first slide is probably my favorite slide of the entire presentation, and so if there's one to pay attention to, this is the one. This slide shows the benefit that we've received from the 1% tax since its inception. Each of the different colors represent a year. The lines shaded in green represent 2014. Those that have a red hue are 2015. Those with the yellow are the projects we're working on this year. And we have a little blue line, and that represents the project we did in 2013. As you know, we had to gain a bit of revenue before we could really start advertising projects with these funds. But I want to take a minute and look at the benefit we've done with this money in our community. Not only have we been able to improve our infrastructure, but we've been able to do it citywide. So I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of our citizens for voting this money in, and I think we're seeing quite visually right there the benefit that we're receiving. This next slide, I want to give you an update of our financial standing with the 1% funds. The top graph on the left will explain our revenues and expenditures. If you look at the very top line, that shows the balance of our revenue and our expenditures starting the first of the year. And then each color-coded row as you move down shows our revenues and expenditure by month. So if we look at it quickly, January of 16 we brought in $148,000 in 1% revenue for these projects. February was $151, March $141. We dropped down a little bit in April and it scared us. And May really scared us. I should have said that after May. May really scared us. But then we've rebounded a little bit. We know our economy's down. We know our taxes are down. But we're still bringing in right now about $130,000 per month. We can expect that revenue to put towards our community. So when we look at the total revenues up through July, we have received $6.3 million to put in our community. And if you look over to the right a little bit, we have been able to utilize $3.6 million of that and put it directly into our streets, roads, and infrastructure. As you can see, carrying forward into this current fiscal year and into our construction season, we have a balance of $2.7 million. The graph, the table at the bottom right that you're looking at shows our current project balance, our list and balances, each one of those lines represent a project that you as a council approved this current fiscal year and that we are currently working on. The only one that isn't really out there is our North Federal project. We know that project is going to be a great benefit to our community, but it will also cost a significant amount. And so I commend the foresight of the council, of our force committee, to reserve a significant amount of money in order to improve our infrastructure with North Federal. So even with that commitment, we are looking at carrying over right now a balance of about $394,000 of uncommitted funds that we can still put towards a project next year or cover any emergency expenditures this current construction season. That's the snapshot we have of our 1% fund from a financial standpoint. So what are we doing this year? How are we utilizing these funds to benefit our community? We have a list of projects that you've approved, but I think it's important to look at them again and see exactly how we're spending the money. We're doing an overlay on Riverview Road. We're partnering with Fremont County. As you remember, this project totals $5.2 million. Our city portion is expected to be $430,000, and we have an agreement with Fremont County to pay that amount. Our next project is a drainage improvement project on West Pershing. That came in under budget at $38,000. Big Bend, West Bend drainage improvement, that also came in under budget. I could say that after each one of these lines, which I'm proud of. $99,000, we have 2 asphalt improvement projects. And as you remember, these are coupled with projects we did last year. They are our phase 2 of infrastructure improvement. Last year, we were able to improve ADA ramps and drainage and curbs and gutter. This year, we're doing the asphalt. This is the Broadway Monroe area and then the Rendezvous School area. We're going to do a street improvement and drainage improvement project at Fremont Street, and then we have some ADA ramp projects that we are currently designing and working on with our force committee. That runs us down. I didn't mention one though, and I didn't do it on purpose because it's running over from last year. You remember that a big push and project that I had in my mind was a pavement assessment and pavement management plan. We are close to completion on that. We are expecting final delivery on that report this month. Now, the benefit of this study and the results that we've received is it's going to be very important for our project planning, specifically with our limited budgets as we look forward in the next few fiscal years. This snapshot shows the GIS system that we paid for this system, and I tell you, it's pretty cool. So we have spreadsheets and spreadsheets and spreadsheets of data, but it's not easy to digest. It's not easy to project onto our city and manage our pavement program. So with the help of technology, we're able to project the data onto a GIS map, and as you're looking, each one of these streets has a color code. You can click on it and receive gobs and gobs and gobs of data. That's what that white square is. If the council wishes, we would like to present this to you during a work session in the next few months so you see the value that we're receiving from this pavement assessment and management plan. All right, let's get on to this year. We talked about Riverview. I just want to highlight that the contractor for this is Mountain Construction and that Fremont County is managing this project. Our portion ran from Augusta to Country Club Drive and included the replacement of several culverts and the improvement of subgrade and existing pavement. Right here is the intersection of Village, and you can see where we dug out certain areas, improved the worst pavement, and then overlaid that pavement which we could still leave in place. West Pershing and the canal drainage. This was the first project you approved this construction season. 71 Construction is our contractor, with Ellis Concrete as our subcontractor. It was approved in April, and it is going to be completed this month. Why was this project important? Why did we want to do this? One, we had a terrible drainage situation on this hill, right where the canal crosses Pershing. What was happening is, because of a bust in grade, water was not running in the curb and gutter, it was running in the street. And if you look at the bottom right photo, you can see the asphalt significantly degrading, and degrading in an expedited manner in comparison with the rest of the road because of this drainage issue. So this is a benefit of me driving home one day in a rainstorm, but I want you to see, despite having a lot of water running through the gutter, oh, it looks like we're going a little slow, I'm sorry, but the majority of it is bumping out in the travel lane. And that's why we're doing this project. We want to improve this area. So as you drive home, as you drive through the community, you've been able to see we've already replaced the curb in that area, and we are going to replace the cross section of the asphalt to make sure we get the water draining into the curb and preserving that roadway. Our next project is the Big Bend West Bend Drainage Improvement Project. This was another one where we had infrastructure failing because of poor drainage, not only in the asphalt but also in the concrete. Dave's Asphalt is our contractor, with Snyder Construction as the subcontractor, and right now it is physically complete. This is the situation we were facing. Very flat profile. We had a couple of catch basins located in the area, but they weren't located at the low spot of the grade. So you can see the amount of water that is handled just in this intersection. And what you can't see is this cross gutter here has completely degraded. We have patched it with asphalt, we've patched it with Durapatch over the years because it wasn't handling the water and shooting it through. So what do? We installed a couple catch basins, piped the water to those inlets that you saw. We wanted to get the water off the surface down below and get it out of the area. Excuse me, I wanted to show you. And this is the final product of the project. We replaced the grades, we changed the direction of the cross gutter, and I'm looking forward to the next rainstorm so we can test it out, see how we did. Okay. South Broadway and the Monroe Asphalt Project, Phase 2 of our project from last year. This is a project by 71 Construction, bid in June, and it will be completed this September. This project is an overlay project, and it will go on South Broadway and sections of Monroe as well. If you drive by, you're already seeing that we're getting the patching done, and then you'll see the surface treatment coming very soon. Rendezvous School Resurfacing Project. This was our other asphalt improvement project for this current fiscal year. Dave's Asphalt is our contractor on that. It was also bid in June, and it will also be completed in September of this upcoming year, excuse me. We've already done the patching and improvements on 5th West, right in front of the school district offices, and if you remember, forgive me for being a little crass, but that road was crappy. It really was. And so now, because of the 1% funds, that road's in good condition. That's only part of the improvements that we're going to be making in that area. We're going to be doing 5th, 4th, Elizabeth, and then also all the cul-de-sacs off of Elizabeth. Now that was bid as an alternate to the schedule for the original project, but because construction prices came in so well, we were able to improve these cul-de-sacs. And already they've been paved, already we're seeing that improvement. I also want to highlight that our original plan was to chip seal 4th. But because of the prices we've received, we're able to actually overlay that street and still come within our budget for that project. So we're getting a better product because of the current prices that we're receiving and because of the great work of a contractor that's local. Fremont Street Storm Sewer Project. This has been on, I know, the list of several of our elected officials for several years. In fact, I was told that one of our elected officials ran specifically to get this project done, and that was back in, I think, prior to I'm not even gonna say, but it was a while ago. So this is a project that has been in the hopper for some time. There's been a need to get this area improved. Our contractor for this is Ellis Concrete with 71 Construction as the subcontractor. It was bid in May, and it will be completed this month. Okay, so what is the need? Again, why are we doing this project? Why was this such a priority for several years? Well, one, it's drainage. If you look at these two photos, the first of which is taken during a rainstorm, you're seeing, and it doesn't do it justice, but literally water is backing up onto the sidewalk, getting into that fence area. It's completely overwhelming the west side of the intersection. Now, what it's supposed to do is shoot to the, the east across the intersection. And if you look at the bottom right photo, that's the current infrastructure we have. It's not good enough, it's plugged, it's undersized, and it does not perform. So, let me prove it to you. This is again during one of our rainstorms, and you can just see the water backing up, not just to the west, but look to the south. It doesn't drain at all. And so what that does is it degrades the asphalt, it degrades our curb and gutter, and you can see that small little drain line there. We're barely draining it. That's why we're doing this project. So right now, it's underway. We're going to improve the drainage. We're going to get that water underground and pipe it to the east. You can tell I'm excited about these projects. Okay, the last one I want to talk about are those ADA upgrades. Okay, we have several locations that we want to improve our accessibility. Now, why is ADA important, especially with the 1% funds? It's a great question. The reason being is because federal law with the Americans with Disabilities Act requires us, that was terrible grammar, but I'm trying to say the reason we're doing this is because federal law requires us to improve accessibility when we improve roads. Anytime we do an overlay, anytime we do any type of surface treatment, we have to improve our drainage. I'm trying to hurry, our accessibility. Okay, so that's why we're doing these projects. How are we funding these? We're funding them through the 1% fund, our TAP grant, and then also REACH. Our two project areas are Sunset and West Monroe. That's part of our TAP project, which is currently underway. We're working through a few administrative processes as part of the state grant. And then just recently at our last force meeting, REACH came and said we really need ADA ramps at North Major and Pioneer. Pursuant to the recommendation of the force committee, they said, okay, great. We will, out of the 1% committee, recommend that we'll improve the ADA ramp on Major, and REACH, you will improve the ones on Pioneer. If you agree to this, let's move forward. Right now, that's under review, and REACH is going to take it to their next board meeting. So where are these areas? If you're looking at the map in orange, you can see on Sunset, Monroe, we're going to improve those for accessibility. And that small dot right there on Major, that's where those ADA ramps are going to be. And here's our last photo of the presentation. These are the ADA ramps that REACH brought to our attention. As you know, there's only sidewalk on the west side of Major. And so you have residents coming from REACH West, and they can't actually traverse on sidewalk if they want to use those ADA ramps. And so the need is to install the ramps at those two curb radius, or radii for better grammar, and then one across the street. Okay, that's my presentation. I'm excited about the 1% fund. I'm excited for the fact that we're able to improve our community because of the passing of these funds. And I encourage each of you to take the time with your constituents and remind them of the importance of this fund as we get towards our election season. Any questions I can ask or answer? I'm getting the sign.
Do we have this on the city website?
We're currently working on improving our city website. We have the 2014 and 15 projects listed, and we'll get these on there as well.
Good, thank you. Any other questions? Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
The next item of business is council committee reports and council member roundtable. Ms. Gibbon?
Hi. A lot has happened with the senior center. They've actually let some people go, and they're trying to get some new people in there. State of Wyoming is really being helpful. Christy, she's amazing, and so is Bill Miller. They are looking at trying to actually merge maybe with the Lander Senior Center somehow. So that's all kind of up in the air. We have an endowment meeting August 16th at 11 o'clock, and it's going to be at the Senior Center after their board meeting, and we'll be able to get you guys some new updates.
We'll have a council meeting that night, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Isn't the Landers funds gone?
From what I was under the understanding of, yes. So I think there's a lot of work to be done. I don't know what exactly is all going to take place or how that's going to work. But I know that the endowment will stay here in Riverton. If they did end up having to use it as a satellite, it would be, Lander would be the main one. Riverton would actually come in and they'd just be an advisory board. Lander would actually have like the actual senior center board. So, but our money would still be separated. So the endowment would still be intact to the Riverton Senior Center.
Interesting.
That's all.
That's it? Mr. Peterson?
I have nothing tonight, sir.
Mr. Larson?
I have nothing, sir.
Mr. Canan?
No, sir.
I got a quarterly report from VOA. Mr. Weaver.
I only have one thing, and actually, Councilman Canan brought it to my attention. After our last discussion at the council meeting over the open containers, we wanted to see if that is something you want to make staff approval of open containers or not. I think the issue that was brought up is that the reason we kept them on the agenda was to allow for advertisement and for people to do that, and if we're just going to accept them as they come up, then maybe they should just be staff approved. So I just wanted to bring that up. If that's something that the council wants us to look into and change, I guess we need to know that.
Let me tell you why I broke the tie the way I did. Okay? I broke the tie the way I did because Bar 10 had come in to do a catering permit, which they thought was the appropriate thing to do, and had the catering permit been accepted, there would have been time to make that work. Okay? And so then when it turns out that it's otherwise, okay, then that's why I said, well, okay, we'll go with what they've got going, because they had it all planned. The catering permit was, submitted in a timely manner, and then we said, no, catering permit won't work. It needs to be open container. I still think that when it comes to parks and other kinds of activity, that it's appropriate that the public have an opportunity to comment on open container permits and the use of those facilities that way. So I don't see any need to change that, in spite of the fact that I said let's go ahead with Bar 10's Chamber of Commerce thing.
I'll make a comment then, sir. I mean, if you think it's appropriate to have public comment for somebody having an open container in the park, then isn't it also appropriate to have public comment for a bar to, if they want to have an open, if they come in and apply for an open container? I mean, once again, I mean, if we're going to play by the rules, then I would think we need to have everybody play by the same rules for an open container, whether it's a private party that wants one for Sunset Park or for, you know, Joe's Bar and Grill. And I think that's my concern, is that, you know, we set a rule and then we promptly go, well, you know, he came in on Friday, you know, so it, you know, he had lots of notice. I mean, we all know that the Chamber of Commerce,
He could have done it,
decides on
he
those
could have done it a
1
month
and 5.
ago, yeah.
So
I agree.
I think if we, again, if we're gonna play by the rule, then we need to make sure that everybody plays by the same rules, that we don't have a liquor establishment walk in and say, yeah, they're different, and we let them go.
Rest of the council, what do you think? Do you want to revisit this and talk about it again?
I would, yes.
Okay? Okay, we're going to talk about it again, all right? Anything else?
No.
Okay, I got the quarterly report from VOA here. I'll just pass that on, and we can send that out with the packet next time or something, okay? It's good to have some new police officers, and the fair's on, so, you know, go to the fair. Weeds are growing. I don't know if anybody noticed that or not. I'd like to point out that Main Street and North Federal really look pretty fair, but there's a lot of places in town that don't look very good. And so there's a lot of alleys. We always get to this point in time, and the alleys are a mess. And the weeds are 4 feet tall, and the only thing anybody can do is go out there and cut that stuff down and bundle it up and load it on a truck and take it to the landfill for recycling with yard waste. And there's a lot of work involved in it, and if you got busy on that in May and June, you wouldn't have that to do today. And so then we spend a lot of time with our code enforcement officer that goes out and jacks people up, and a lot of that stuff will finally hit the ground when we get a foot of snow. And then we'll start over again. So the thing to keep in mind, I mean, it ought to be in everybody's mind right now today, is the fire issue. You know, the weeds in the alleys are drying up like crazy. They're pretty combustible. And so what you wind up with is a situation where you could get fire started in the alley, and it would spread from one piece of property to the next very, very quickly, and would make it difficult to deal with. If all that was clean, then we'd not have those kinds of issues to worry about. So as the things progress, we need to try to keep working on that. I know we've had a few areas that of concern, like Holiday Inn, and but that's all mowed today, right?
Looks good.
Okay, all right. So we took a little, you know, so we want to give people an opportunity to do it their own way and do it the best they can and that type of thing. And yet we do get to this point in time, and we start to get calls. A lot of calls come in about how trashy things look, and concerns about fire risk and that type of thing. So I'll use the bully pulpit here a little bit and hope that anybody that's listening, you know, they might go out and take a look in the alley tomorrow morning, and or maybe yet tonight, the sun is still out, and see what the weeds look like in their alley, and maybe try to get it cleaned up a little bit. Thank you. I guess the only thing to do is adjourn if you're ready. Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Been moved,
Second?
been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mayor votes aye. We're adjourned.